Many things are going to happen in Volume 9 that are going to affect the RWBY series moving forward. And one of those things may be the death of prominent characters. One of which may in fact be Neapolitan. I think that there is a very real chance that Neo may meet her end in Volume 9. There's a couple reasons why I think this is a possibility. And before you take to the comments and say, if Neo dies, we riot, something that I've also said in the past, I want you to hear me out on this, because there is two different reasons I think this may happen, and the second of which is almost fitting in a way, depending on how things shape up. The first of these reasons is due to what we have seen of Ever After so far, that our characters' emotions will affect the weather, and the one moment that we saw Neapolitan, she was angry and there was a storm brewing behind her. Her very existence is going to become a danger to the Ever After, and at the very least, the residents that are living there. If Neo can create a storm out of her anger, and if it rains heavy enough that it creates a flood, well, what do you think's going to happen to an entire village of mice? Like Little. Like, Neo's emotions are going to be a danger to the people who live there, and as such, she's likely going to be branded an enemy of the world, meaning that she's going to be hunted. In Alice in Wonderland, there's a particular phrase that seems to come to mind that may very well be used in Volume 9 in reference to Neapolitan. Off with her head. If she pisses off the queen of that world, the Queen of Hearts, which I have a feeling is probably going to play a role in Volume 9, with taking inspiration from the Alice in Wonderland stories, you know, it would be very fitting to have a Queen of Hearts character, and I think she's probably going to be gunning for Neo. Now, in that case, in that instance of that happening, there's a chance that Neapolitan could actually be killed in the conflict. I don't think that that is a likely scenario, but it is one that I think is worth mentioning. If things did play out that way, I'd think at least some of Team RWBY and Jean would try to actually defend Neo. Jean in particular. Team RWBY maybe not, considering Neo has been hunting RWBY and was the reason that Yang fell into the void, which really pissed Blake off and made Blake hate her. Weiss is kind of a wild card. I think that Jean and Weiss, as I've mentioned in previous videos before, might come to Neo's defense in this case, try to defend her and create a divide between our 6 characters that were transported to Ever After. So ultimately, Neo will be in danger because of her anger and the way that she will affect Ever After, and will be branded an enemy of Ever After, will be hunted, but I don't think that that itself is going to lead to her death. There's a possibility, but I don't think that one's likely. What is more likely, though, is the second possibility. So far, the underlying theme of Volume 9 seems to be finding your purpose, finding where it is that you belong. And for every individual, that's going to be different, especially for our 6 main characters, Team RWBY, Jean, and Neo. Each of them are going to come to their own conclusions throughout their journey, and as I theorized in my previous video, when they get to the World Tree, they may have to have an answer for the Gatekeeper, where it is that they belong, and that might determine where it is that they end up. But for Neapolitan, what's her purpose going to be? Where do you think she belongs? What do you think her answer would be? As far as we've been led to believe, in the entire time that we've known her in the RWBY series, she would only have one answer. The one thing that is most important to her. She belongs at Roman's side. Now, personally, I like to believe that Roman Torchwick is still alive, and if she gave that answer, then she might just be transported to Remnant. But if Roman Torchwick is truly dead and in the afterlife, what do you think would happen if she gave that answer to the Gatekeeper, if there was the possibility of being transported to the afterlife? If she says she belongs at Roman's side, then she may have the option to go and join him in the afterlife. And honestly, given everything that we've seen of Neo's past, from Roman Holiday and in the RWBY series itself, I wouldn't be surprised if she took that option. If she went to join Roman in the afterlife, knowing that she could be reunited with him, because, in all honesty, right now, what ties her to the world of the living other than her revenge for Roman? If she can just be reunited with him, that does make a good deal of sense that she would want to go and join him. Now, this could also provide a way for us to see Roman again in the RWBY series. If by giving that answer that she belongs at Roman's side, she is actually given a glimpse into the afterlife and able to communicate with him to some degree, I think that might be a little bit of a stretch, but, you know, the Ever After operates on its own rules, so anything could be possible at this point in time. We may see Roman again, Neo may have the chance to communicate with him, and he might actually tell her that it's not her time, that he wants her to be happy, because Roman does genuinely care for Neapolitan, and he would want her to find her own happiness. She may still decide that her happiness is with him, but I do think she will make other connections throughout Volume 9, in particular to Jean, and he will be able to become an important person to Neo as well. Someone who does not judge her for the way she is, for her muteness, for her ability to create these illusions, and be able to comfort her in her own insecurities and things of that nature. And I hope that that's the way that things play out, but there's a part of me that really thinks that if Neo gives that answer, if she comes to that conclusion throughout the volume, that she may choose to, well, go to the afterlife and leave the RWBY series permanently. It's not something that I want, but it is something that is certainly possible. And if I'm being honest, although it would be incredibly sad, it would be gut-wrenching to see Neapolitan choose to go to the afterlife, choose to leave the world of the living of her own accord, I think that would also be, in a way, a poetic end to Neapolitan's story. When Neapolitan was introduced into the RWBY series, she was literally created as a way for Roman to escape Team RWBY in Volume 2, and she immediately became a fan-favorite character. I have no idea what the initial plans for Neo were, but I doubt she was intended to become this prominent of a character. She started as just a random side character introduced in Volume 2, and now in Volume 9, she is one of the 6 main characters of the volume. And I think Volume 9 may very well be Neo's crescendo, her final volume in RWBY. I really, really hope that it isn't, but, you know, I can't say for sure that it won't be. Neapolitan is certainly going to go through some rough times in Volume 9. She's gone through plenty of them already, and I really do want her to just find happiness. And that happiness may not lie on Remnant. It may lie in the afterlife. It may not be something that we as the fans want. Because we have to remember, Roman Torchwick was a fan-favorite character as well in Volume 1, and he stuck around longer than intended because the fans loved him, but he was still removed from the RWBY series. I hope he'll come back, I hope he's still alive, but he was removed from the RWBY series at the end of the day. And although Neapolitan is a favorite as well, being a favorite doesn't make someone immortal, doesn't make them immune from death in a series. So if things play out in a way that does justice to Neo's character, although I will be sad to see her go, I won't go the line of, rioting if Neo dies. I don't want her to die, but, it is a possibility. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below, though. Obviously, I'm sure none of us want to see Neo die, but let me know what you think on these two possibilities. The first and foremost of which being that she's going to be branded an enemy of Ever After. That's pretty much a guarantee, given that her emotions are going to cause the weather to get out of control and affect the world around her. Not to mention if her semblance also plays a factor in that, things could get out of hand very quickly, and they may need to forcibly stop her, or at least to knock her unconscious to prevent further damage, but at the end of it all, where do you think her purpose will lie? Do you think she has any reason to go back to Remnant, to go back to the world of the living, or do you think she might choose to go to the afterlife? If it is, in fact, one of the 9 realms, one of the places that the World Tree could transport her to. Let me know what you guys think. It's not, you know, the happiest of theories by any means, but it is one that I feel is worth discussing. So I'd love to know what you guys think. But with that being said, if you guys enjoyed this video, or, well, got something out of it at least, that it got you thinking a bit more about the possibilities of Volume 9, and you want to see more RWBY videos in the future, most of which will be a little bit of a happier tone than this one, hopefully, but there are plenty more to come. More RWBY theories, more RWBY reviews of both Ice Queendom and Volume 9 when it comes out, as well as a few other things planned. So make sure to subscribe and join the Guild of the Eternal Flame. Tweet me at PhoenixKnight7, and I'll see you guys in the next video.